All right, everyone. Welcome to the DGS Presents YouTube channel. This is part deuce of Gangbusters. We're going to talk about the TSR Gangbusters system, and it is a part deuce. Is that what she needs, Michael? Does she need a deuce?
That's right. Great Kiss song, by the way.
There you go. Like nobody was going to get that otherwise.
Where's the deuce?
She wants a deuce.
God, I can't wait. I cannot wait for that film to come out. Gangbusters, The Deuce.
Oh yeah, there we go. Well, we have this today, and so last time, just to catch everybody up, we talked about the kind of the history of the Gangbusters system. We talked about the rules, the mechanics, how the whole thing worked, shootouts and car chases and all that good stuff, character creation. But there's still a bunch of things we couldn't get to. It was just too long of an episode otherwise. So this time today, I think we're going to want to talk about some of the other things in the book, like character advancement, which we'll start with, NPC interactions, special rules, which are pretty cool, some sources of inspiration, and then finally we're going to talk about like some of the newer RPGs that are out, and actually the kind of the reprinting of Gangbusters. But we'll get to that at the end of the show. So how are you doing, Michael?
Pretty good. Yeah, just hanging in there, man. Just enjoying life. Couldn't wait to do this show. I remember when we were talking this morning, I was so excited to do it. Remember that conversation? That's the one where I said, fine, I'll do this show, and then I quit. As one does. I'm a pain in the behind.
True. So let's start. Let's jump right in. Let's talk about where we left off last time, which was character advancement. And here, I think this is the right one. I'll add this to the stage. Here we go. You can see that, right?
Oh yeah.
Just like D&D or other tabletop RPG systems, they do have a character advancement system, and it's in the book. It starts on page 120. 20. And it says, once a PC has reached level 2+, he or she can spend XPS, experience points, on various things. And they're typically based on your career, which I'll talk about in a moment. You can do things like ability score improvements. That's on page 20. You can learn a special skill, which we'll look at. When a PC learns a skill, he makes a percentile roll and then adds the ability modifier that we see on page 4. It had to do with your attributes. General skills can be done by anyone at 20%, but exclusive skills require the skill. So that's important to note. In the book here, let me see if I can find an example. Let me flip ahead just a little bit, a couple slides. Let's get to the skill. So here we have on this page here, skill descriptions, and there's a lot of skills. There's a lot of things that you can do. For instance, there's like accounting, alarm systems, auto mechanics. And again, it's a percentile roll. It's a roll under to see if you're successful in any of these skill attempts. There's like auto theft. You try to hotwire a car. There's ballistics, boxing, chemical analysis. And, some of these are basically exclusive skills. If they have like an E next to them, it means you really have to have the skill in order to attempt it. If it's a general skill, it won't have that E after it. So a good example is like disguise. I think pretty much anybody can try to disguise themselves, but counterfeiting, you're going to have the skill.
Sure. But now I'm looking at auto theft. Now you would think there should be an E after that, because that's not a basic skill. I mean, yes, I can do it, but I spent 10 years in jail, but I could do it, hot wiring everything. Yeah. Unless they mean someone left the keys in the visor and you can just steal the car.
I think that's what they mean there. There could be a situation where a car is just really easy to steal. Somebody left it open, whatever, the keys are in the visor in the glove compartment, and then boom, you can steal it. So at each time a PC goes up in level, he or she can improve a skill by 5%. So here's an example, kind of an interesting one. This ties into careers. On page 22 in the book, there is bookmaking. I'll make sure that's up there. Yeah, bookmaking. Bookmaking is basically like running the numbers, right? It's gambling. And it ties into basically one of your kind of illicit careers. And there is a bookmaking income table on page 43. So I'm just going to flip real fast here, all the way down to page.
Now, in this whole thing, is there a way to, say, become multi-skilled? So like if you are, say, a safe cracker, well, if you're a safe cracker, you probably would be a pretty good lockpick or other things that might come in there. I know that you get to choose the one skill in the beginning, but is there a way to, like say in D&D, you could be multi-classed, as it were?
Yes, absolutely. Oh, you are not limited with that at all. You can pick up as many skills as you want, and you become as proficient in many different things and just become either a master criminal or highly skilled G-man.
Now, would that be per level, or you can? Well, I guess you couldn't really start off the bat. Say, I want to be a master criminal, so I'm going to, do lock picking and pocket picking and safe crack, all that stuff, like off the bat as a level 1. It's just like,
yeah, you're not going to get that all at level 1, right? Okay. You'll be pretty basic.
Awesome.
But if you're level 6, level 7, oh, absolutely. You can do a whole bunch of different things. So here on this page here in the book, if you can see this at the bottom, there is a bookmaking income table. And this ties into your bookmaking skill, which talked about a minute ago. On the left-hand side of that table down at the bottom there's a column that says skill score. And you can roll against your skill score to determine how much income you're going to make within in a given period of time.
Okay,
cool. So that's pretty interesting. We'll talk more about that in just a second as we get to careers. Another good one is gambling. That's on page 23. You can have a gambling skill, and there's a little table. There's a little kind of rules that you can follow to generate income or get money through just straight up gambling. It'd be like dice playing or roulette or poker or something like that.
Sure.
One interesting thing I saw in the book, I just have a note here. It talks about careers and salaries and stuff. And I don't know if you noticed this, but the salaries are pretty out of whack in the book. On page 23, let me go all the way back because I thought this was kind of funny. Let's see here. Let's see here. So it would be. Hold on. The problem is that the slide numbers do not match up to the
yeah, that's why I have to look
at numbers in the books
when I do that. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll find that in a second, but it's in this area. And I think at one point it says like a G-man makes a salary of like $8,000 to $10,000 a year. And I'm like, whoa, that sounds like a whole lot for back then. In reality, salaries were like $2,000 to $3,500 for a typical professional back then, from what I read online.
Yeah, and especially G-men. I mean, they rose in say popularity or front and center I'm imagine when it first started, they were, maybe getting almost the same as, let's say, a beat cop and everything like that, because it was so new. They probably had no idea. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. So, and that brings us to let's talk about careers. Let me move forward a little bit. Let's jump to like, is it page 36, I believe. Oh, here it is.
Oh, there's the salaries. Yeah.
There are the salaries up at the top. I found it. Okay, so see the level. Like, obviously, your salary is going to go up based on your level and stuff, but those are awfully high for the time period. You may want to adjust that for similitude. And then so you have the salaries for the police and your hierarchy, right? The chief of police, beat cops, right? Captains, lieutenants, and in the system, what the interesting thing is about gaining XP is that you can gain experience points based on the career that you choose. So if you go to, let me scroll down here. Man, I so wished I got to scroll through. Like there is a table for, let's see, career law enforcement, and it's on page 31 of the book. Hopefully the audience actually has the book. They can follow along. It's a little easier. But up here in the right-hand corner, you see law enforcement experience points. So this is one of the key things in the game. So for instance, if you, during the course of an adventure, if you arrest a criminal for a felony, you can get 1,000 experience points times the level of a criminal. So I think that's really cool as a an option in the game, because it encourages you to arrest, John Dillinger versus just some thug on the street.
Right.
If the criminal gets convicted, you'll get more experience. If you recover stolen property, if you earn rewards, if you close down a still or a brewery, for 1 year, you can get 1,000 experience points times the level of the owner.
Right. Okay. Well, I have a question though.
Sure.
Okay. So with this thing, it's 1,000 plus the level of the PC or NPC that you arrested, but that sounds dangerous. How about if you just start arresting like prostitutes, and then, because they're not going to put up a fight. So say a hooker is, 50 experience points. I mean, just, arrest 50 of them and just, bring them in. It's just like, that's what I would do, because that seems less dangerous. And you might get a couple of dates out of it. Just saying.
I mean, it's game master's discretion, and you play the game how you want to play the game, right?
Yeah. Do they have a street urchin as a playable character?
I don't think they're a playable character. I'm sure you could draw one up.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, yeah. I want to be one of those kids that had the privilege of working in a coal mine, and that's why I want to play. And then I'm hitting the streets, pickpocketing and things like that. I mean,
there are careers in crime, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But let's look up here and this page, which on the top right-hand side there, private investigator experience points. All right, so you can if you're doing things like you earn a fee or a bonus money on a special case, get a certain number of experience points. If you solve a special case, obviously, if you get a conviction, I like this one. Politician convicted due to investigators work, 10,000 experience points times the level of the politician. So if you bring down the mayor of Chicago, that's like buco experience.
You know what would be fun with, say, a private investigator? A great solo campaign. So like, you and I, say you write up an adventure, I play, a private dick, as it were, and then, and run an event or play an adventure like that. That'd be great for solo stuff, full on like intrigue and trying to get information from people. That'd be really groovy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And then another really good one I love in here is right below that private investigator table there for the XPs, newspaper reporters.
What a scope!
Yeah, you can be a newspaper reporter, and there is actually a on the next, I think it's a couple pages down from there. It's about 3 pages down. Let me pop. There we go. All the way down here on the bottom right hand corner, there's newspaper reporter experience points, scooping the competition. Right, you can get 3,400 experience points at first level and 5,000 at second or above. Providing information that leads to arrest or conviction of any criminal, or providing information leading to the arrest and conviction of any politician. And that's a lot of experience points. So that's really cool. And there's some other rules here for the reporters, like how they get scoops, how they interact with their editors and their newspaper, and the kind of assignments that they're given. So that is a lot of fun. You don't have to play a G-Man. You can do some other really cool things. And that, although, brings us to the careers in crime, which is on the very next page here. And here's where things get really crazy, because you don't have to be a good guy. I mean, you're kind of encouraged to be a good guy, but you could definitely be a bad guy. And in the book, this is a very important point. It's easy to miss. Criminals earn experience only through money minus expenses. So we saw that G-men or newspaper reporters, right? They can get experience through doing good deeds and arresting people, getting them convicted. Criminals really get experience only through the amount of money that they make.
Right. How much cash?
Through bootlegging or gambling or bookmaking, like we saw a little bit earlier, all kinds of things. So if we kind of look in here, that there's a number of different types of criminal enterprises or characters that you can kind of play. For instance, you could just be basically like a thug and commit armed robberies. So you see him here on this table on the right hand side here, that can generate a certain amount of income, or a certain amount of money. It's not really income because it's not static, or it's not continuous. It's a one-time deal. But you can rob stores, you can rob individuals, banks, or whatever, and you can earn money. Burglary. There's a burglary table here on the I think it's stolen goods, and I think maybe it's the next table. Is it burglary? Or no, it's on that table.
Oh, no, yeah, it's all fencing goods too.
Yeah. So you get burglarized houses, and depending on the type of house it is obviously it's going to determine how much money you get out of it. And
it seems like being a criminal is a lot more fun.
It can be. I thought some of the cool things about the criminals. Let me fast forward here a little bit.
A super bank. Holy, what are they keeping in a super bank?
That'd be like a national bank or something. That'd be like Deutsche Bank or something. Rob the super bank.
It's like, where is that super bank at? Oh, it's that really big bank over there. It's like, let's go.
Yeah, that giant building over there. Yeah. And then this is really fun. Bootlegging. So you can set up a still for like $8,500. And then there's a table in the book for bootlegging income. And here, this is, let's see here. There's like bootleg prices. And then we have speakeasies.
Yeah, I just saw that. That's great.
Yeah, you can set up a bootlegging and a speakeasy operation, and you can have a speakeasy profits. That basically come in on a consistent basis.
Yeah, so basically you rise in level, you accumulate all this money, and you can have all these side things where it's like, oh, I'm going to set up, a still, but you pay people to do it for you, and you become almost like, the big guy on the block, kind of like us with all of our illegal activities we do.
That's true. So if we look at this speakeasy profits table, like it's going to cost you more money to set up a really high class speakeasy, but the more seats you have, you can roll periodically to see how much income you actually generate.
Now, is there a table of there should be? I don't know if there is. I'd have to double check, but you might know this. So you're running a speakeasy. Now you're not there every day. I mean, you're just getting the profit because you're doing other criminal activities. Is there a percentage of how many, because these things get busted all the time. So if we're running a game and we're all criminals and I happen to have a speakeasy, is there a percentage, like a weekly percentage roll, that it gets rated or something like that? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I don't see it in here off the top of my head, or I don't see it just looking here. I see it's a weekly profits table that
Sure.
you roll against. I don't see like a mechanic that says, there's a 10% chance that the local police raid your speakeasy. But again, GM's discretion. You could
true.
totally, put that into the game. You could create your own little table or something and be like, hey, getting a 10% chance your place is going to get raided and you're going to lose X amount of your income.
Maybe a percentage for your income if you hire a real famous singer or jazz guy or band in your bar. You can maybe
there you go,
profits that way. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with that. One thing I don't see is being a pimp or a madam. Is that in a different section of the book?
That's not really in here. We did talk about doing that. And what was your idea, Michael? I thought it was kind of an interesting one for having a career, not simply as a bootlegger or a gangster or whatever, but actually as a pimp or a madam. How would that work?
I figure, you start off as a low level, madam or pimp. And, level 1, I'm going to be a pimp. So you roll like a D4, and that's how many people that you have, you're running. And there'll be like other tables, like, if you hire a monthly physician to take care of the people that are working under you, you would have, they'd make a little bit more money because they're staying healthy and safe and everything like that. But if you don't, there's also a percentage that, which would be another percentile table, they might get a social disease, or they might get knocked up, or they might get mad at you and try to knife you and leave for someone, a better madam or pimp, things like that. And I thought that would be, for me, how I'm really, really into, that profession. I thought that would be a lot of fun. Now, it's all in my head. I've been meaning all week to, write down, percentage tables. So that's going to be part 3 of Gangbusters. It'll be like Gangbusters, the prostitution years or something like that. So there will be part 3 now, just to cover this, because I think this could be a 2 or 3 hour show. I'll have animations, and we'll probably bring in some guests who work in the profession.
We'll get banned from YouTube, and
we'll have to
maybe arrested.
Well, I mean, they're just talking. It's not like a sex ed thing. They're just going to tell us how it is on the streets. Out on the street for a living. The Kiss song. Anyway, so that'll be part 3.
And one thing we talked about too is this idea that let's say you set up a brothel, right? It's a real high class place. Now, there is a chance, I don't know if it's a percentile chance or it's just something else, but that you can learn secrets from politicians and political officials,
actors, actresses.
Yeah, I mean, chief of police.
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows, right? He comes in there for a little entertainment. Now you have some dirt on the mayor.
You might even have gangsters come in to muscle in on the action, say if you're getting really successful. And of course, when you first start, maybe by second level or third level, you can afford like a cheap hotel, but you're building up income. But your expenses are also, if you pay for a doctor, if you pay for hush money, that kind of stuff where, so it might take a while to accumulate. However, yes, then you start building like a slightly higher class place until, you're running like the Moulin Rouge or whatever, it is. And, it becomes famous on the streets, but then that's more money you have to pay out for, more hush money, but then when you get some dope on the, politicians or, they'll start paying you hush money, and then you maybe get some reporters in there, to kind of throw people off the trail. Anyway,
Sure. I mean,
I don't understand why it's not in this book at all.
I mean, TSR is a family-friendly company. I mean, for the most part. I mean,
that was what, 84? No, they were going through the satanic panic at the time. They could have easily slid this in.
Yeah, they could have. You also have things like loan sharking. One important thing too is there's rules in the game for your character to be able to take out loans from a bank. But if you're a criminal, forget it. You can't do that. So that is one avenue that is closed to you. Although GM's discretion, if let's say,
I have a question.
Sure.
How about if you are a forger? You could actually forge your documents to get in, or someone can. Oh, okay.
You beat. That's exactly. I was just going to go there. I was going to be like, well, what if you're a real white collar criminal and you're really skilled in forgery? Like, nope, you've no criminal record, that kind of thing. Yeah, certainly you could get a loan, illicit.
Right.
Yeah,
and then you totally default on it because it's a fake.
Sure,
man, that'd be a great way to make money.
Yeah, and then you can open a speakeasy or a brothel or gambling den.
Right, but you'd have to go in with like disguises every time, like a different disguise. So that will be like one of your skills. You're the master of disguise. Right. So yeah, like
and there's a disguise skill.
Yeah, you get 15, 20 loans a week.
Yeah, and actually that's a nice segue into NPC reactions. Just like in like AD&D and some other games, there are mechanics for interactions with NPCs, and there's a table here where you can roll against it depending on the situation. You can see how a specific NPC is going to respond to you, and there's a whole bunch of modifiers, everything based if they know who you are and if you're part of the same gang or whatever. Right. You can use a persuasion skill.
Yeah, there's loyalty skills.
Yeah, there's loyalty, but what I thought was really funny is actually on the next page. I love this. There's the police honesty table. If you look there, look what it says for local policeman. Look at the honesty percentage chance.
Oh yeah, what is it? 40%?
40%. Like 60% of the cops are like totally corrupted on the take. Prohibition agent, 35%.
Well, go back to there. I don't know if I read this right. If it was $850 weekly or $850 monthly on their payroll, because I'm thinking if they're making $850 a week, most people would actually like $850 a week.
Oh yeah,
just working regular jobs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was weekly or something like that.
Wow,
I'll have to go back and look later. I'm gonna dig it up now, but
oh yeah, that's fine. I was just
FBI agent.
I saw that.
Yeah, FBI agent on this table is 95% honest. So yes, you do have the untouchables, Elliot Ness and his gang. They are
straight lace
feds. Yep, they are the FBI. So they're the honest ones. Yep.
Now, if you kidnap his wife or child, I wonder if we could loosen those lips a bit. I'd say, like, send a finger to him and say, like, each finger you send, he loses 10% of his loyalty. Is that
That'd be dark? Yeah, I mean, you probably could do that. There are mechanics for bribery on the bottom of this page. Minimum bribe NPC will consider, right? $840 per incident, or $40 per incident, or $50, right? Depending on what you're trying to do, right? Judges obviously are going to be a lot more expensive to bribe, right, than just a local beat cop.
Yeah, I don't know about that, especially nowadays. I'm just saying.
And then there are some interesting special rules in this game, and it starts on page 50 in the book. Here we go. Special rules. There's some pretty cool stuff for like public opinion, based on politicians and police chiefs and this kind of stuff. There's kind of like a little rule set here for figuring out if newspapers will start a campaign either for or against somebody based on what's happening in the game. And each week, the GM should check the public opinion with a modifier of +1 or -1, depending on the stance that the newspaper is taking. So public opinion can kind of impact the game. And
Sure.
if I look here, let's see, public opinion table, be on the next page. This is kind of stuff that, actually, let me go back. Here it is, public opinion table up here on the top right. You can see what might happen depending on which way public opinion goes, right? If the modified dice roll is 2 or less, as the public is enraged, demands immediate action, vigilante or action groups forming, violence likely, public officials who fail to act will automatically lose any election held within the next 6 months. So if your character is a politician, I mean, you could be a politician, right? You could probably lose the election as a result of this.
Sure. And if you're playing a reporter, you can help swing public opinion. So like if there's a lot of crime in the area and you want to swing the public opinion to favor the police, you could maybe start writing like, positive and kind of like, a little bit of like tinkering with that kind of stuff. I don't know how deep that would go in there, but yeah.
Well, it's so cool because if you think about it, like let's say your character is a reporter, you're in Chicago, the mayor is crooked, so you're sent out to kind of gather information, try to get a scoop, try to get a little evidence on him, write stories, and then this ties into public opinion, depending what you do, and then it could get really interesting. I mean, if the mayor is really crooked, he might try to shut you up.
Oh yeah. Some goons after you.
Bullets.
Yeah, come here.
Yeah, that's right.
Mayor wants to talk to you
stuff about me.
Yeah,
that's right.
You better stop it. We're gonna be pushing up the daisies.
You better quiet that typewriter there.
We'll silence it for you. And then you break one of his fingers.
Yeah, it can happen. And then on this page too, there's modifiers to public opinion dice roll situations. So like if there's a gangland murder, right, it's gonna be like -1. If there's multiple gangland murders or like a St. Valentine's Day massacre, right, that's going to really impact public opinion. It could be -3. Police officers get killed, this kind of thing. So let's see what else. I talked about the bank loans. I don't need to really get too much into that. There is a bank loan repayment table down here on the bottom right. If your character takes out a loan, and again, if you're a criminal, it might be hard to get a loan. There's some explosive rules in here. This just gets into combat, which we kind of talked about last.
Hand grenades.
Yeah.
There's a leftover from WW1. It's like one of those German ones, like.
Yeah. That's right. And yeah, so let me see, what else do I have here?
Dude, I want to play this so bad. Let's go.
I know this is an awesome game. It's totally cool. One thing I forgot to talk about: court proceedings, fines, and jail terms, and that's should be on page 53.
That sounds like at the end of a campaign, if we're all playing Gangster, some of us get like nicked, and so it's kind of like then we have to a 4 or 5 week, because I want my trial to be as legitimate, and I would force the DM to I want a 4-week trial. It'll give them time for my cohorts to bust me out of there.
And this stuff starts at the bottom of this page where they're talking about like arraignment hearings. Yeah, there's trial modifiers and plea bargains. Obviously, sentencing rules, fines.
Tell you I'm innocent. Of course, now I would be annoying because I'd bring like one of those metal cups and like my own little bars, and then I just start rolling my cup. Get me out of here, Keith. And then I'd be kicked out of the campaign. But hey, it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, here we have our typical sentences here on the left-hand side. How long you're going to be put away for an Alcatraz, depending what you do. And then there's civil suits. There's actually rules for civil proceedings in here. And there's the National Prohibition Act, which you can violate, the Volstead Act and stuff you can violate to get you into trouble. The judge's role. And then there's some more like kind of how to run a campaign, which we've pretty much talked about.
Sure.
But that kind of brings me to the next thing. Is like sources of inspiration for this game.
Yes.
So like where, I mean, it's pretty somewhat obvious, but where can players go to get inspiration for running really cool campaigns? Like what are some good movies or something that you've seen, Michael, that would fit into all this?
Oh, well, let's see. I'm trying to think. Well, of course, you got the Untouchables, the one movie, but or if we go back to TV, there's there was an Untouchables TV show back in the day. I'm trying to think of one that definitely took place in the 1920s or 30s. Well, I mean, all the Scarface, the original.
James Cagney.
Dirty
Angels with Dirty Faces.
Yeah, I mean, those are some I mentioned Scarface.
Yeah,
it's so good I had to mention it twice.
Yeah, Scarface was 1931. James Cagney is The Public Enemy is also 1931.
Yeah, Public Enemy.
There's all kinds of like gangster films that came out in the early
when we were growing up. It's not like this nowadays, unless now you have to get a special channel for. But we would grow up and like Channel 9 would like the Late Late Show. And we'd play all these great, gangster films, and that's how I grew up with, and that's how I got to enjoy all these, 1930 films, 40s, all that stuff. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that stuff is great. There's a lot of books. Obviously, I mean, Elliot Ness wrote The Untouchables, right? That was a book.
Yeah,
I think originally. Yeah. So I mean, you can go there. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of new books, about gangsters and everything. And then that kind of brings us to the last thing I wanted to talk about, which is newer RPGs, which deal with gangsters and prohibition, this kind of stuff, noir. What are some of the ones that are out there right now, Michael?
Well, we got
this is an older game, obviously, but what's if people want to? Oh yeah, here we go. So
yeah, Mean Streets.
Yeah, we got this one here. This is from Precus Intermedia. And this uses something called the genre diversion system. Maybe we'll talk about that at a later date. But this is a newer in-print game, which is just full on. It says right there, classic film noir role playing. So you think of like Casablanca, or you think of, all those kind of those movies from like the 20s to almost the 50s, right? Like through the war.
All the like all the black and white ones where it's all like gritty and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and this is a cool game. It's pretty fast and rules light. It's easier to run. The rule book, I think, is like 80 pages or something. So we're not talking about a big complicated thing. It's quick and fun, and you can pretty much do a lot of the things that you can do in Gangbusters in this game. And they also had another game, I think it was called Blood Shadows. Yeah, there you go. So this is a little bit different because you not only have these gangster noir elements, but you also have like monsters and stuff. So you have some fantasy and horror elements that are been injected into the game to give it a little more spice and flavor and enjoyment. It kind of like was it Shadowrun? Shadowrun is what like is it cyberpunk plus fantasy, right? I think that's what Shadowrun is. This is like almost like Gangbusters plus horror and fantasy.
Right. And you also have like Call of Cthulhu. It takes place in that time period, and you can play detectives and reporters and police and all that stuff, and that has a lot of like Gangbusters type stuff in it. Of course, and you're going after cultists and things like that. So this is almost like a little bit more in that vein, because they're fighting, they're not fighting like elder gods in it, but they're fighting, like these chuds, cannibalistic humanoids, underground dwellers.
That's right.
I love that movie, man. I saw that at the theater.
Yeah, that's a great
awesome
movie. And I think this if I recall correctly, this originally came out under West End Games, and I think it was under the Master Book rule set.
Yeah,
which we'll talk about. And then it was updated, and I think it now you may be able to use this the genre in D6 or genre version. There's a few different versions of this. I think Precus Intermedia right now not only reprints this, but they have a new version.
Okay.
I think this is the 3rd edition. I think, is this the 3rd? Yeah, the 3rd edition.
Yeah,
so this is
edition,
the most recent one. So
okay.
Again, it's really cool. I recommend people check that out. And then finally, there was a new reprint. Here it is of Gangbusters. It's called the BX edition, and this is by Mark Hunt. We talked to him in our DGS group on Facebook from time to time, and he put this together. This is he's got the IP and everything for it, and you see down the lower left hand corner, it's got OSR, right? It's got that kind of old school feel to it, but it captures obviously the whole essence, right, of the Gangbusters game. And I think it's got some fun stuff. Wasn't there like the fingerprints? Yeah, there we go.
I love this. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, and there's obviously all kinds of handouts and props and stuff you can do to really spice any kind of gangster game up.
Yeah, he has lots of modules based on the BX rules. Also, just recently, I was watching a podcast with him, or a YouTube thing with him, and he's going to update his IP to D6. So that will be the next part of where he's taking his Gangbusters.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think his stuff is up on Drive Through RPG.
It's on Drive Through, yes, and I'm pretty well. We know Drive Through, but there's other sources that you can get it from as well. And yeah, I mean, it's worth checking out. I mean, I really like the artwork on here, and I was trying to I looked through the book, and I was trying to figure out who did this artwork. But next time I talk to him, I'll ask him. It just fits into that whole, thing. So whoever did that artwork, it's an excellent job. I really, really liked it.
Yeah,
and it really sets the mood for the OSR, Mark Hunt's OSR IP of that, which I thought was really neat. So it's fun, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with the D6 system.
Mm-hmm.
So and. Since we started doing this show, you and I have become, a little inspired to maybe write our own adventures using the TSR rules. And we were talking about like doing like a 1930s, almost like Dirty Harry with the detectives. Oh. Remember that? Where it's like, so, there's Harry in there, and there's Popeye from the French Connection. Oh, Billy Jack would be in it. Now, of course, it all takes place in the 30s. And there's 3. I thought we had one. Oh, Serpico. Serpico in there. But of course, it's the characters, but they're in the 1920s. So Billy Jack would still be, he'd have to take his shoes off to fight and all that fun stuff.
That's right. You totally cannot fight until the boots are off.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like if the gangsters get the jump on you, they can just like beat the hell out of you if your boots are off. But once the boots come off, then Billy Jack back, he just kicks the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. But of course, now you got Dirty Harry there and Popeye. I mean, they're just going to pull their revolvers, start shooting. And Serpico will be like, "Hey, let's see what's going on, man." So I thought it'd be fun, but I started having a little fun with some old TV series. So I started working on my Barney Miller. The assault on the 12th precinct, which I thought was fun. I mean, you know how much I love the 70s and everything like that. I thought it'd be fun to adapt the rules for, setting them in 1930 and,
Oh yeah, you could totally do that.
Stuff like that. Yeah. And then I was working on my next one. Once Upon a Time in Mayberry.
I always wondered about that place.
Yeah. So I was working on that. I have another one, though I don't think I'll finish it. Because I was going to do like one where you play a madam, in a brothel and stuff like that, and you have to fight off trouble. It would be with the girls from the Facts of Life, and then you would have So I'm thinking about doing that one. I thought that'd be a lot of fun. So like, but I have to, write the rules up for it and everything like that. And so I
And when we
might do
get
that
completely
module.
canceled, you'll know the reason why.
I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, people need to make a living, Colin. You shouldn't be so square, man. Gotta get with the times. So so these are just ideas I'm having, lucid dreams, all that stuff.
Cool. Well, yeah, but yeah, I think that's all I had on the old Gangbusters game. I think we covered it pretty well. Do you have anything else up your sleeve there, Michael? Any other fancy pictures or anything you want to show anybody? Or
oh no, those are the 2 modules, and I can't show you the Facts of Life one.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm still working on that one, and I have to write the adventure. So but we'll see. That might be one. I want to do it so bad, only because I think it'd be hilarious, and I actually can't be canceled. So that's why I can do whatever I want, basically.
True story. So
within the law, as it
yeah,
were.
within the law. So all right, bro.
All right.
All right.
I will talk to you soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the
thanks
next
everyone
one
for
is going to
watching.
be. We're still working on it. Yeah, we'll figure something
I
out.
think maybe seven seas or something like that would be fun. Star Frontiers would be great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a million things to choose from, but
yeah, I know. It's like, well, you can't see it because I'm in the back alley, waiting for my girls to come back so I get paid. But yeah, there's so many to choose from. So yeah, we'll discuss it. We'll find out. Or we'll take a poll on our fans of the DGS on Facebook and see what they like us to cover. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I should also ask them, it's like, what modules should I start writing for? Get some ideas that way.
Yeah.
And take the most salacious, awful, get canceled one and write it. Because I can.
Yep. All right, bro. Well, on that note, we'll wrap this one up, and we will see everyone next time. Hit the like button if you're having fun. Subscribe, and we will see you next time.
All right. See you later.
Bye-bye.